time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Sense,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stand.
And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin while Danny's playing on his phone here. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. It's
yes,
Saturday
it is.
morning.
It's Saturday. It's a.m. We're in the cabin.
Yeah.
Only thing could be better if we were out in the woods.
It's where we should be, but I got to work this weekend, and that's why we're doing the show today on Saturday morning. It's a little different, and we kind of warned you about it throughout the week, but if you've been following us this week, you notice that we've been talking about having special guests on, and if not, shame on you if you haven't been following us. So without further ado, let's just get into the show.
You know what? Let's take our conversation a little south.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's go south.
Even after the Buckeyes beat Michigan?
Hey,
guys, what's going on, man? You guys doing all right?
Hey, doing well. Doing real well. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right, and I'm going to get some grief for that Buckeye statement, I know, from our Michigan fans, but you know what? That's just the way it is.
It is.
I was gonna discuss that comment there, but hey, OH, right?
I guess so. Roll Tide, I'm sorry.
All I know is they better not mess it up tonight. That's all I got to say.
Oh.
Our fingers are crossed too.
If they lose tonight, that would be so sad.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go there. Hey, we got none other than Jake and Nick Miller for OTown Outdoors, OTown Boys, what we call the OTown Boys. How you guys doing down there in Ohio?
Been busy, but been doing well. We've actually been pretty fortunate this year with a good deer season and a healthy year. Everybody has been good in our family, so we've got in the woods a lot. No complaints at all.
Man, you got to like that. Getting into the woods a lot, that's the key to, I think, being happy, successful, having your mind clear, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing like getting out in the woods and watching the sunrise or sunset if you're hunting.
Yeah.
But then that so peaceful where your ears are ringing.
Yeah.
Is just it can be awesome.
Silence is deafening sometimes, But
absolutely,
it's
the recharge for the week.
Absolutely,
the next week, out there for the weekend. It's the good rejuice and recharge for the start of the next week.
Exactly, and here in Michigan, we're coming off our rifle season. It ended yesterday, so we're starting our our December seasons that we're going to have here, depending on where we're at in the state.
Archery, muzzleloader.
Yep. But in Ohio, what are you guys up to?
So it's actually the end of our opening, or our first gun season, rather. So today and tomorrow is the last 2 days. It opened on Monday of this past week. So we've been out. Jake and I both already shot our bucks, and in Ohio, we're a 1 buck state. You can only shoot 1 buck here. So we've been taking friends and family, trying to get them on a deer. I mentioned earlier, I got a buddy from your neck of the woods that I'm trying to get on a buck. He bought his Ohio out-of-state tag. So, yeah, we did some bow hunting during gun season. We like to still chase them with a stick and string now and then. So, and then after our gun season closes tomorrow, it opens back up for a 2-day.
It's a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, 15th and 16th of December. So
then you got that, and then your bow season goes how long after that?
It runs into February. I think this year it's February 7th.
Oh, wow.
Whatever that weekend is, yeah, it goes super late. Like last year, it's pretty crazy when you start seeing bucks shedding their antlers and you're still chasing.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah,
February 7th, and here in Michigan, we're gonna most of the state will end in January, but we're gonna have some January hunts, some urban hunts.
Yeah, due to the CWD, and if they don't meet their quotas for testing deer, they're going to extend the doe season into January in a couple of the counties. So hopefully that does not happen, but we'll have to wait and see.
So were you guys hit hard by that CWD?
That's a good subject. You want to save that for like another show?
Probably depends on who you talk to, right?
It's my opinion on it is I'm kind of like on the fence. I see both sides, and I don't know who to believe yet, you know?
Right.
We had 20 new cases this year. We had 52 up until that point. So out of the grand scheme of things, you know, I say, yeah, you got 72 deer positive out of the whole state. Well, you know, I don't see the epidemic, but yet and still, is it a concern?
You want the up-to-date numbers.
Yeah, you got them.
Dan coming in clutch.
That's right.
You know what? It's one of these subjects that just boggles my mind at times because they've tested for the lifetime of CWD.
Right.
Or is this lifetime? Is this the one?
Here in Michigan.
47,257 tests.
Okay.
And had 97 positive.
97 positive. Okay, so it's a little higher than what I thought.
Right.
But, you know, when you're looking at percentages, you know, but is it a concern? Yes.
So,
yes,
flip that into a percentage, and you get 0.002%.
0.002, so 0.002, so that's 0.2%.
Right.
So,
but now, I didn't know you were a math guy too, Dan.
He's got a calculator.
I had this conversation Thursday, okay, with a gentleman that I work with, and it was along the lines of the baiting, whether you want to bait or not bait.
Right.
Well, he doesn't matter because he grew up in farmland where he hunts the edge of a cornfield.
Right.
He's like, okay, I'm hunting on the edge of a cornfield. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody goes put bait out, what's the difference of me sitting here by a cornfield?
Yeah.
Right. And then I pulled out the numbers with how many were tested, and he just kind of looked at me and went, "Really?" I said, "Yep."
If you listen to the DNR up here, though, the woods are on fire.
Right. And
so, you know.
So down in Ohio, have you guys had anything of the sort, CWD cases that you know of, come up, talked about?
I think the only ones that have come up in Ohio are on farms. So we haven't had, like, I don't think they're doing testing currently. There's no ban on baiting. I don't think it's a problem as far as we know.
Obviously, there's been you hear the stories and the reported cases, or maybe they're even just assumptions. But kind of just like you said, it's probably pretty minuscule right now, and a lot of it I think is just hearsay or assumption.
Well, that's the thing, and what's going to happen in Ohio is because we had a case
Jackson County, which is getting close to Ohio. They're probably aware of it, and they might be doing some testing because up in the Upper Peninsula here, because Wisconsin had it, we've been doing testing all along the Wisconsin border that Michigan has. So they've been watching it is what they've been doing.
Right.
But it's hard to convince somebody at 0.002% we got a big problem.
Right.
And then down in Ohio, they can only shoot one buck, correct?
Correct.
How do you think that's working out for a 1 buck type rule for you guys? Are your doe permits pretty generous where you guys are at?
Well, here's the other, and Nick, you're gonna, because you know the details of this better than I do, but there's a certain date after which you're no longer allowed to harvest does on public land.
Just this year, it came into effect. It's after muzzleloader season, I believe, in Ohio. You can no longer shoot antlerless, so any doe on public land, which I think is awesome personally. And to answer your question about the only 1 buck, I love as well. Yeah, it's great to go out and, you want to have a bunch of success, shoot a big buck every year. But I think Jake would agree, we just like seeing them too.
Yeah, right.
So I like that it's only one, and you're able to hopefully see a lot of bucks and good deer throughout the season.
Well, and we've seen too, because I forget, 7 or 8 years ago, Ohio had a 7 deer bag limit. You could shoot 1 antler deer and then 6 does, whatever.
Right? Okay.
And at that time, you could buy antlerless permits. And as of the laws this year, you can only buy antlerless permits in urban areas. So like where 2 years ago, I might have been able to buy a buck tag, which is an either sex, and an antlerless tag, which is just for does. This year in our area, we can't do that. Okay. So the deer numbers are definitely down. And I think it's evident based on the number of deer that we see. But, the DNR also puts out different stats about like this year on the opening day of gun season, our deer harvests were down like almost 9,000 deer. So,
do you think that was due to non-hunters in the woods or weather related, or do you think there's a factor as to why?
That's what I was going to say. It's kind of an unknown or a gray area as to what caused that. We did have pretty inclement, rainy not normal weather for opening day of gun season. I'm sure that had an effect.
Probably.
But then you get to thinking too, and I'm sure there's accurate numbers out there somewhere, and I'm maybe not the most educated on it, but is it also because our deer numbers are just down, or is it hunter numbers are down? I don't really know, but it was big number.
It seems like you guys are working on that hunter's number. You're inviting friends, family, everybody to take them out, show them, like you said, you had a guy you went to school with. He's from the Michigan area. You brought him down. So hunters typically are trying to bring that number back up, even though we hear that we're losing.
Right.
I know with my family, I take out the girls as much as I can, get them out there.
Right.
When you can, you do as well.
Yeah, we're bringing the kids up from Indiana this next week. Yeah.
Yep. Indiana's, we're bringing them. So that's a multi-state.
Right.
We're trying to all work on it.
Right, yeah. Looking too at the numbers, you said they decreased permits. You think, did that have anything to do with you had too many deer, but did you guys see anything with maybe overbrowsing a habitat? Were they decimating the habitat, or was it just mostly ag fields that were getting hammered and farmers getting upset?
It's hard. It's hard here. I would say most of Ohio is ag country, so I don't think there's a decimation of habitat. I mean, there's crop fields every 300 yards. Yeah. So
okay.
Corn or soybeans or winter wheat or rye or whatever. There's something out there for the deer to eat almost all year long.
Gotcha. Well, Danny alluded to a little bit. You guys taking people out and stuff. The reason we want to talk a little bit about OTown and what you guys do, and this all kind of started. We met you at Columbus, wasn't it?
Yep, we met him when we did the Columbus Archery Classic.
Archery Classic at Cabela's. Yeah, at Cabela's, and we kind of started a friendship there. But your dad came with you guys and everything. And did OTown, did that kind of start around the family, so to speak?
Yeah, it's you guys might remember us saying we've been obviously hunting our entire lives. Our dad got us into it at a very early age, which we're super appreciative and thankful for. It's molded who we are today, as cliche as that sounds. And he always toted a video camera when we were younger, and he would hunt and video. A deer would be coming in. If he wasn't going to shoot it, he'd pick up the camera instead of the bow. And when we got to, I would say probably early high school age, so 15, 16, we started going together. So Jake and I were able then to hunt, by ourselves, but we would go together, and one of us would video, one of us would hunt. And then that kind of evolved, and our interest started to peak, and we started throwing videos together that we look at now and we think are pretty terrible quality, but we've just always really enjoyed doing it. It's never been something that we really wanted to, what I'm trying to say is sometimes people turn hobbies into jobs and they no longer like it anymore.
Right. And that's exactly what Mike and I have said about what we do here at Up North Journal. When it doesn't become fun anymore, we're not going to do it anymore.
What's the point? Exactly. So we actually, to be completely honest with you, within the last couple of years, we started feeling ourselves straying away from that mindset, and we didn't like it. So we almost had a recharge this year, and it's been super refreshing. We kind of just got back to the basics, and it's been awesome.
Right. So, and besides that, besides your dad, besides you two, you also brought your sister into it as well.
Yeah, she's something else. She's actually killed the biggest deer of all of us. But yeah, it's fun to get her out there. And then just like you said, we love taking family and friends. We have two really close buddies, Corey Moyer and Easton McNeil, that help us with all kinds of video stuff, and we're super close friends because of that shared passion. And then introducing people to what we do and how we do it with the filming and everything like that is super rewarding and fun also. I've learned as I'm getting older, and I think you're the same way, that I sometimes feel the most success or feel the most reward from watching other people have success. And I know you guys with your family and kids probably feel the same way. So
absolutely.
Definitely. There is no doubt about it. But I tell you what, I got something to ask you. We got coming up on a break here, but when we get back, I got something to ask you about getting all three of you in the same blind at the same time. So we'll be right back after this break.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals. All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Second segment of the show. We are still talking with the guys from OTown down in Ontario, Ohio. Yes, Ontario, the American version of Ontario.
That's right.
America.
America.
So, Danny, you had a question.
Yeah, I did have a question because actually, it's funny you guys mentioned that there's three of you. I was watching a Michael Waddell on Thursday night.
Okay.
And now you guys tell me if you've done this. You three, the two brothers and a sister, in the same blind videotaping, and somebody got something. You guys do it?
I don't know. Have we? I think we've definitely all three been in the woods together at the same time. But I don't know if we've been quarantined to a ground blind.
No.
No?
It's hard right now for her because she's at college too. So
Right. Now I know now.
Not back very often, and we didn't really start hunting out of ground blinds until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the comedy about this video that he had. Mm-hmm. His actually, I think he's got three boys.
Okay.
With one with the videotape and the two boys, and the shot was blocked when he shot the deer. The whole nine. It was just
chaos.
It was chaos in the blind, but he loved it because he was seeing his kids
have fun.
And I was just wondering. I bet you your dad just when you come back with whatever videos you've gotten, just enjoys watching them immensely.
That's the first thing he wants to do is pull that up on the TV. Let's watch that.
Yeah.
Well, that is cool. That's
we'll
cool.
have to put that on our list though. When she graduates, make it a point to get a film together of us three cramming in a ground blind and trying to shoot something in the process.
And you know what? It was pretty funny because you could see the brotherly rivalry within the blind happening with the older brother helping them. I think it was the middle brother or vice, whatever it was, but. I'm sure with you guys in there, it would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, we would have fun, I'm sure.
Well, back in the first segment, you guys were talking about your deer season, and I actually got some photos here of you guys out there in the blind. So who scored first this season?
So I scored first this year. There's a full video on YouTube. Actually, it was a crazy day, November 10th. Just hunting a piece of private land that we don't own, we don't lease, just a situation where we talked to the landowner, gained permission, and we had been there a few times earlier in the year, had some good hunts, but in this particular situation, if you're a hunter and you're listening, there was a hot doe in estrus in that wood lot, and it had every deer on their feet. It was just one of those mornings. Had a beautiful wide 8-point come through, and don't know how it happened, but I missed. Clean miss. Not afraid to admit it. 25, and I think I shot just under him. It's weird. He was dogging a doe, and he got to my shooting lane, and as soon as I was stopping him, he takes off running, and he kind of, how they compress their legs when they're getting ready to run, and I don't know what happened, but I'm clean missed. He was fine. 10 minutes later from his stand, he was hunting the same woodlot. So about 5 or 10 minutes after that, had a different buck following that same doe's trail come right to the base of my tree, 5 or less yards. So Dad was videoing me, which was fun. I had Dad there along with me. It was an awesome opportunity. Took the shot, and he didn't run 70 yards. So I was the first one to score this year. I was super thankful and blessed to get the job done, get some meat in the freezer. So
how much kidding does Jake give somebody that misses?
I've had my fair share of bad luck. So
I don't know if we want to go down that road.
Did you know this deer was on the property?
Actually, we had one trail cam picture of him from about 2 weeks prior. The lay of the land, it's a river bottom that butts up to a cut bean field and a cut corn field. So as you can imagine, it's just a perfect transition line. And we had a few different pretty solid bucks on camera. So we knew we were in a good spot, and we had a lot of hope that it was going to come together. I would have loved to wrap my tag around him, but as far as we know, he's still out there, and maybe we can get Dad or Rachel on him. We'll see. He's still got plenty of season left. So,
did you happen to nickname this buck anything? Because looking at him, the picture with you looking at the deer here that we've got up, it looks like on that right side, it looks like almost like a middle finger.
No, he had a really unique rack, and it all happened so fast. It's funny, when I walked up to him, if you can see his left main beam is clean snapped off. Didn't even notice that when I shot him.
Right.
But yeah, he had a really cool rack, some funky characteristics. He was all scarred up, had a big gouge in the back of his head. So we didn't give him a name, no, but I did on our Instagram post when I shot him. I said he was a funky looking fella.
Yeah.
And I wasn't talking about myself. I was talking about the deer.
Right.
How old was he? Did you get him age?
Not sure. I'd say he's probably just a 2-year-old buck. It definitely wasn't a mature deer, I don't think. Maybe 2 or 3, but had a good body on him. Tasted good. So.
He's a scrappy guy, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Which is a lot like me.
There you go.
Beautiful buck, man. That was awesome. Now, we just seen a picture here get posted here pretty recently that your brother scored here. Nice buck, too.
Yeah, that was, like 8 days later?
Well, it was last Sunday. So, November
25th, I think, is what the date was.
Yep.
So, and that was my 3rd buck ever. Like I said, I haven't had very good luck. And I haven't shot a buck in 3 years.
Well, it looks like you made up for it on that.
Well, and Nick was filming me on that hunt. And that's the first time I've ever shot a buck with him as my cameraman. So that was pretty cool to be able to share it with him.
We can't wait for that video to come to fruition. It was really fun.
The one picture you had, it looks like which has got the more of a purple sky to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great picture with the light and everything, and you guys did a fantastic job with it. You guys are doing a fantastic job with your pictures and your videos, and for that reason, if anybody wants to go and see your videos or come check out your photos, where can they go to find your stuff?
Just go to YouTube and search OTown Outdoors, and all of our stuff's on there. I actually shared in the Facebook link here, I shared the video to the hunt Nick was talking about where he shot his this season. So
right
if
here,
that's a good start.
There you go. You can just follow the link right in this live feed video and go see the video on YouTube. And these guys, from when we first met them to where they've gone, like you guys have said, though, you guys have gone through college and somebody's gotten married and had a little one,
right?
Right? A future hunter.
Yeah, definitely. He's already the first word he said was buck.
Nice. Teaching him right. I like that. That is cool.
Which at the end of my video, there's a pretty cool clip in there. It was the first deer he's ever seen in person.
Okay.
So we brought him out to the truck when I got the buck home, and he got to have some fun with it. So at the end of that video, you'll probably get a kick out of it. Yeah.
Nice. That's the key to, I think, people that don't hunt don't understand the family, the camaraderie, bringing our kids up into this stuff and passing that tradition along. I mean, and obviously your dad did one heck of a job doing it for you, and now you guys get to do it as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, and his dad did it for him too. They belonged to a hunting club, and they would go pheasant hunting and rabbit hunting and the whole nine.
It's just crazy, and I'm sure it's the same for you guys. Like our Thanksgivings and our Christmas parties when we get together as families, it's like that's just what we talk about. Like we just had our Thanksgiving with my dad's side of the family, and like I don't know that I talked about anything other than hunting with all of them because they're all big hunters as well. Just how we bond and how we communicate. It's almost like just in our DNA, it's you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, and that's normal for most people. We do that as well, but hunting is also just like that. You just get up in the morning and it's just what you do.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I don't know if a day goes by that I don't think about something, whether it be habitat, deer management, strategy, or even if it's fishing, which I don't do a lot of, but it's always something to do with the outdoors every single day. It's just like you said, it's in you. It's bred into you. It's in our DNA. It's in our core, I think.
Absolutely.
So
for them guys, we'll have to talk probably in the next segment. But I want to get their feel for what they do to prep themselves, because your season starts the last weekend in September, correct?
Yep, correct.
Okay, so I'd like to dive into their kind of what they prep going, like we prepped all year to get there, how they do it in Ohio, because
it's a different dynamic down there.
It is, and they got corn and soybeans, and it's just like. I don't have that, and you don't have that.
Right. Yeah,
So.
it's how you prepare for those hunts. But But you posted something on Facebook before. I think we got enough time here for the break to discuss this. You made a post this week, and you talked about, the gun season's in full swing, but you're sticking true to the stick and string. Talk a little bit about, your philosophy on that and why you guys, during gun season, you're still breaking the bows out and getting in the tree stands. What's going on there? What's the mindset on that?
Well, we're not shy about hunting with a firearm, so I don't want to give that impression. But there's just something about being able to or having to get a deer within bow range that makes a hunt so much more adrenaline pumping. If you got a deer at 20, 25, 30 yards and you draw your bow back on them and let an arrow fly, I almost think it feels totally different than if you're shooting a shotgun at a deer that's even 50 yards away.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, and that's the one thing, whether, you're sitting there, you're in a blind, if you got the bow in the hands, you got to get them within that distance. Unopposed to like a gun, you see them at 75, 100 yards, it's like, okay,
right,
let's take them out. But you're so right. And then all the more movement you have to do with a bow if you're up a tree and all the clothes you got on. And absolutely, I totally agree with you on the bow hunting aspect being more in tune, really.
In the picture you guys showed, too, I mean, it's rifle season because there's your bow. You're getting ready to pull it up as you guys are going up. And you've got hunter's orange on. So, you got to wear hunter's orange during rifle season. So, but you're still using the bow. I mean, that to me is a telltale sign that, it even makes it even a little more harder. I think that orange just sticks out so much.
Right.
It makes it tougher to get out there.
It's that, in the deer prism of eye perspective, it's that bright spot up in a tree.
Right.
And like my brother says, he makes a comment on our Facebook, when you're talking the stories, the missed ones are the best.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
And I think it's where we learn the most. You learn what didn't work, or, man, I screwed that up. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Do you take a lot of that internally, and do you switch things and make sure that those things don't happen again? How do you internalize those things when you make a mistake?
Well, like Nick's missed from this season, it's so hard to pinpoint exactly what went wrong. You just kind of have to chalk it up as we'll get them next time kind of thing. And you just...
Well, and at the end of the day, yeah, I think it's important to always, success or not, to find something that you can learn from, absolutely pull something. But at the end of the day, it's a deer, right? They're wild animals, and there's some things that it's just... You could be as prepared as possible. You shooting your bow every day, think you're ready to go, and they're a wild animal, and something could happen, and it doesn't work out. So that's why we love it, I think, though.
Right, and you learn from others' mistakes. Like, for instance, my brother not wearing a pair of gloves when you're out shotgun hunting. What a pair of gloves, you typically don't wear them,
right?
But when you're wearing them, what happens?
Right, yeah.
He can explain the rest of that story.
We'll have him on to talk about that one day.
It's a good story.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's good stuff. I tell you what, we're bumping up here on our second break. Let's step outside. We take our next break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back. Third segment of the show, talking with the guys in Ohio, and they're giving it to Danny about the football game last weekend.
No, they're not. To me, it doesn't matter. Like I said, my daughter went to Concordia in Chicago, and it's like, okay, whatever.
All right.
I'm not going to lie. My Ohio friends are probably going to kick me for this, but I was in the woods hunting when they were playing, so.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, It's I've been in the woods, hunting many times, and actually I'll turn the phone on and get a stream going, turn the volume down, but I'll sit and watch, and it's probably cost me a few deer.
Now you guys both wrestled, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and you wrestled where?
We both wrestled in high school, and then I wrestled in college. Jake ran track in college, so we were both 4-year. Well, you ended up being 5-year athletes in college as well. But we wrestled for the same high school. We were drill partners, wrestling workout partners. So.
Oh, great! Brotherly love.
Right.
It was a lot of fun because we weren't the same weight class, so there was competition in the room. But then when you went out on the mat, you didn't have to worry about it.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's awesome.
Jake's older, but I was bigger, so
you know, and that's all fun. And what college you guys go to?
I went to the University of Mount Union, which is in Alliance, Ohio. It's on the eastern side of the state.
And I went to the University of Findlay, which is just south of Toledo, closer to you Michigan folks.
Okay. There you go. See?
Yeah, my son's down in Lima right now, so he's going to University of Northwestern Ohio.
Yeah, okay.
So not too far from you guys, I don't think.
Not at all.
Not very far. No.
Okay.
You know, that's the thing. And you know, you guys worked out together and prepped together for high school wrestling, and then how do you guys do it? Because your season ends really late in February. So when you guys, okay, let's say your season's all done, do you guys continue to shoot your bows during that time, or do you start to say, okay, what are we going to do for next hunting season? I know you got turkey in there in the spring. What's your game plan coming out of, let's say, February 10th, when everything's all done and said? What do you guys do? How do you prep for next season down there?
Well, just like for most diehard hunters, it definitely never ends. It's just one thing right into the next. So as soon as deer season ends, we're looking for sheds that very next week, trying to pick up any sign of life, I guess you could say, from a buck that might have made it through the season. And we'll do that, you know, all the way really into spring.
And we're also scouting for turkeys while we're doing that too.
Multitasking.
So,
when is your turkey season?
The middle of April.
Okay.
April 16th.
All right. So you start off shed hunting. You continuing to shoot the bows, or those take a little hiatus?
I think it does. Just, I don't want to say we put it to the side because it is very important, and we still do shoot, but definitely not as much as, you know, summer, right, leading up to bow season. We do take a little break, kind of recharge, refresh. So.
Well, looking back at your turkey season, you know, you're talking about in the spring. We had a picture here I'm trying to find, actually, one of you with a bird this year. Talk a little bit about that and how you guys roll through turkeys. I mean, what's the tactic down there in Ohio? I've hunted one time, and it was in the southeastern part of the state, and it was nothing but hills and hollers and ravines. And you know, the picture I got up is, you know, I'm looking at a hayfield. I've never seen a hayfield where we were at. There's nothing flat enough to put hay on.
Yeah, we're hunting in central Ohio, so you get a little bit of rolling hills, but a lot of flat or farmland. Mm-hmm. And it's run and gun for the most part. You set up in the morning if you roosted a bird the night before, and you might sit there for, I don't know how long, 45 minutes to an hour, and if you can't get them to come in on a string, then you're on another bird somewhere else. We jump properties a lot trying to get on a hot bird because our season's only a month long. So, and where it's at right now, the last half of it is everything's greening up, and it's so tough to get on birds late season, which is oddly enough when we actually had success this year. So,
yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you're shed hunting, preparing for turkey season. You got your cameras out, or?
Yeah, we pretty much leave. I'd say not our full line of cameras out, but we still leave a few out throughout the spring. Just, you know how it is. See if you can't capture something cool. Whatever. Still monitor the deer and turkey both a little bit. We do pull a lot of them though. But yeah, we definitely still leave them out. Try to figure out what's going on for that time of the year. Maybe what food sources they're using. We planted 2 different food plots on our dad's land this year, so we'll definitely leave cameras over them and see what deer are cruising through there for the entire year.
Okay. Speaking of hunting area, now for me, mine's an 8-hour drive to hunting camp, and for you, it's 2.5, 3 hours, depending on weather. You guys, vicinity of your hunting areas within X amount of miles?
So, I was in the stand this morning hunting, and I climbed out at 9:20, and I was walking in our door at 9:25. If that gives you. So it's 30 seconds up the road, which we feel very fortunate to have access to that. Because like you just said, we have a lot of buddies that drive hours to go hunt for a weekend, which is tough. And it's tough on your vehicle. It's tough. It's a grind, right? So for us, we have access to a few different properties within 5 minutes of the house. We have public land that we've killed a lot of turkeys on. We deer hunted this year. That's 10 minutes from the house. So we're very fortunate when it comes to the land that we hunt and have access to.
Okay, so with that being said, as you get into the summer months of checking out what crops have been planted and seeing how your plots that you've planted are done, are you out there on summer evenings just cruising the roads, scouting the fields with binoculars?
Oh man, all the time. Yeah, any free time, we're absolutely doing that. It makes it nice too. You hit on food plots. We can just drive our tractor right up the road. There's a little backcountry road, takes us right to the property. Take the 4-wheeler up there to check a camera, whatever it is. And we definitely don't look past the fact that that's not normal. Well, I shouldn't say not normal, but not everybody has that luxury, and we're appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, another Thursday night I was watching a show. Do you guys find that when you're driving a tractor, ATV, a vehicle, because you're in the agriculture farm, the deer tend not to worry about the noise of that vehicle coming by as much?
I don't know that we're always still very careful about it because of like I'm sure the show you watched was you blow the deer out of the field with a truck or whatever, but if you're going and you're hunting and you're parking, a deer could pick up on that and they can pattern your activity just like we try to pattern theirs. So we always try to be very careful about it, but we do have there's a highway not too far from where we hunt, so you hear trucks driving by and traffic, and I think that might help us a little bit.
That's an interesting topic to bring up though, and I'd be curious to have opinions from other people because I've done some research on that, and actually I don't know if you guys know Joe Sir. He owns Risen Media. He had a TV show called Hollowed Ground Outdoors on the Outdoor Channel, but he had said that he has his wife, when she can, not always, drive her truck to his stand to drop him off and to pick him up at night because the deer, they're not bothered by it. They'll just run off into the woods 20 yards and they'll come right back.
That's exactly what they said, and I can't remember what show it was, but they were trying to figure out how to get into the stand, right? And they're like, oh, the wind's bad, this and that. And
right.
They said, you know what? We're in ag field. They know the tractor. They know the cars. They just drove the truck right to the blind, dropped the guy off, turned around and left. And it was like no big deal.
See, we deal with that dynamic at our camp, and we're split right down the middle. Half people want to drive, the other half don't want to drive. We try to work together and have like whoever's driving the furthest out, have them drop people off as they go along. And that seems to work well, especially the area that I hunt, because it's there's two people that hunt beyond me, and that traffic's constantly back and forth through there. But it's only during hunting season, and that's the thing that I wondered. Like you had said, you've got a place you hunt near a freeway where they're used to hearing that. Well, this is my own personal belief, and I think there's other people out there that feel the same way, maybe even have backed this up a little bit, that when you drive through an area continually, they become accustomed to it.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it, 2 to 3 weeks a year during hunting season, rifle season, it throws them off.
Then they know something's up, right?
Yeah,
it's not normal anymore.
I think so.
Definitely situational, I would say.
So along those lines, a cousin of mine bear hunted last year.
Okay.
And he got with a outfitter up north around our area. And one of the spots that he took him to, and he kid you not, was less than 100 yards off of a main highway where you heard trucks, semis. But he had on camera like 8 different bears.
Okay.
And sure enough, he was sitting there. He had a bear come in, and a truck went by and scared it off. But it wasn't a few minutes later, another bear came in.
Okay.
So like you guys said, it's situational as to, are they hearing it anyways, or...
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference. I really do.
It does.
Like we get conditioned to certain things. I think it makes a big difference that way.
All right, so you guys have been in the summer. You guys have been scouting every evening, glassing. Coming into September, gearing up for your opener. Is that when you go play stands, August, September, get them what you think you're going to be the right spots?
A lot of our stands are done whenever we can find time. So if it's in June and we have a spot that we know we want to put one, we'll hang it up. If we have a spot that we just find in September, which happened to us this year, we scout it really quick and then go and find a spot and put a stand up. So pretty much whenever we can have the time to do that is when we put them up. And we're constantly like driving down a road our eyes are on the field just as much as they are on the road because we're constantly scouting.
Yeah,
so.
It's a great point. It reminded me of I love memes like on Facebook, and I saw one the other day on a hunting forum, and it had an officer that had pulled over a gentleman, and the officer said, "Sir, have you been drinking?" And he said, "No, just looking for deer."
That is a true statement. I don't know.
My wife gets on me for the same.
What are you looking at?
You know, when you guys are out or when you're out putting stands up, or maybe checking your trail cameras, do you worry about scent control at that point in the season? Are you big scent control believers, or do you just do your own thing and not worry about it?
I would say not like we used to be. Yeah. We used to be fanatics with scent control, and now we really just try to hunt the wind for the most part.
We've had so many hunts where our clothes are washed in scent-free stuff. We spray down. We make sure our everything's clean. We have like face wipes to wash our face off, and still get busted by deer because the wind is wrong. So if you hunt the wind, it doesn't necessarily matter what your scent control is like because the deer aren't going to smell you anyways.
I think it does help. I definitely think all of that does help for sure. But as long as the wind's in your face, I mean, like Fred Bear, right? He probably never used any sort of scent control.
Well, it didn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing, guys, right? You know, as long as you don't go smelling out there smelling like bacon.
Right. Never bear climb up the tree.
Right. you know, you're right there. You hunt the wind, or you hunt the stand that you're hunting. Typically, you've set up. I know some of my stands that I have, the deer aren't going to come from that direction typically.
Right.
But sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, and they tend to look up at you and kind of go, "What are you?"
Yeah. I don't remember that blob being there.
Yeah. There's so many different philosophies on that too. We have a friend in this area that he smokes his clothes like in a
hickory smoke. Yeah.
So he smells like smoke, and it's what he uses as cover scent, and he always has good success. So there's so many different philosophies out there, but if you're in the woods, it's a good day no matter what you're doing. So.
I've heard that before. A lot of guys talk about the campfire smoke, to camouflage scent or cover scent and get in the woods. I remember back when I was little, my dad would take me to the public hunting grounds we used to go to. Had a big fire, and guys would hang up their coats around that fire, and that was their philosophy. It's like, well, if they can smell that smoke. It's something that they smell quite often, and it's going to help cover my scent.
So next bonfire we have, you're going to be out there in full hunting gear?
No. I'm more of a scent freak. I'm like what they said.
I know you. I know you are. That's why I said that.
No.
Well, let me ask you this then. Yeah. I don't know if you guys. Obviously, there's so many products out there. I've been having a lot of interest and wanting to know more and learn more about ozonics, because we do hunt a spot on our dad's land. It's a big pine grove, and we have food plots carved out into it. Okay. And the wind in there specifically swirls like you can't really hunt the wind there. No matter what the wind is, even if it's perfect, it ends up swirling and we get busted. So I've been looking into that, or like the scent crusher bags, anything that is going to help a little bit. And I had a great, response to a question about ozonics. I had all kinds of people saying, they swear by it. It absolutely works. You won't get busted, this and that. So I don't know if you guys had any experience with that or not. But
no, Jim Beasley, our pro shop guy that owns Spot Shooter Archery, he has ozonics, and he just started using it this year, and I haven't talked to him about it. Okay. But yeah, from what everybody says, they say it works.
The people that I know that use it swear by it. Yeah. Just like Scent Crusher. It's they crush their scent in the bags, and they swear by it. Yeah. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those good things. It's one of those things about the hunting community too. You put out the question, right?
Yeah.
And hey,
everybody answers.
You'll get it from A to Z on what the opinion is.
Right.
Some guys swear by lighting up a pipe out there, smoking a stogie.
Yeah.
I just light up a cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you'll get opinions all across the board. I guess the way I look at it is I try to control as much as I can, and then I try to use nature to my advantage. Like you guys said, you play the wind. I mean, I think that's the smartest thing anybody can do when it comes to hunting. Is play the wind. Don't hunt to where you're shooting game downwind. I mean, like you guys said, you get busted. It's just that's the nature of the game. So
Well, and that's one thing for us when you have to hunt the wind and you're constantly thinking about that. You've got to know way more about your deer and how they use your land than you ever would if you didn't worry about the wind. You got to know where they're going to come from, where they're likely to bed or go to bed, how they're going to use different terrain features. And so I think in the end, thinking about how to hunt the wind makes you a better hunter in the long run.
Yeah, you got to know more. You're forced to.
Yep.
Absolutely. The lay of the land, like you were saying, the pine grove, there's places where you might be hunting a saddle. Which way are you hunting? Which way do the deer move up that saddle, or do they cut down through the ravine? And how does the wind flow over that, and how does it affect you? But we just got Matt Howard, who's actually from Ohio, a friend of ours, said that him and his daughter used the system this year, and they said it was incredible. So.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you, Matt, for that input.
And that's
on my Christmas list now.
Yeah, there you go. See, and that's the thing, right? Another thing, besides ozonics, that's when you're in the stand. But when we come back from a break, I got a question about getting into your stand.
All right. Let's step outside real quick. We'll take our last break. We come back. We'll continue the conversation. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show. Man, this has been great talk today. I mean, we're covering everything. And, even though they're Buckeyes, we have a commonality together. We can talk about something that brings us close together. So I'm just giving you guys a hard time, man.
Yeah, Jake's right, though. Deer hunting trumps all the differences. So.
Absolutely.
It does.
It's all good stuff. But you said we had a question from one of our
people
watching.
But when we went into the break, we talked about ozonics. The question I have is, besides that, do you also look at entrance into your stand depending on that day's wind?
Yes, for the most part. That's one of the things that we like best, and actually it was strategic in how we built the food plot that we talked about hunting in that pine grove. Normally during hunting season, this year's been a little weird, but normally you'll get westerly or northwest winds. And so we strategically designed our access route to hunt that food plot so that we would walk straight into the wind the whole way. So it's definitely something we consider. But, a lot of it, too, is just where we have access to the properties. Because here in Ohio, you're hunting 40, 50 acres, and you might only have one way to get into that property without going on someone else's land. So
I would say on along the lines of access, we're probably more worried about being quiet. Yeah. And we started using, and this might sound contradictory at first, but we started using headlamps again this year to walk in. We used to just walk in the dark. We noticed it was just obviously louder. You can't see. Mm-hmm. And we got to thinking, we at first were like, headlamps, the deer are going to see it. Well, if you're going to be walking past a deer and you're using a headlamp and that spooks it, if it was close enough to see that headlamp that's looking at the ground, it was going to run anyway, right? For me walking past it. So we've started using, a red headlamp again to walk into the woods and really take our time and virtually, I feel like, undetected when we're doing that, using that system. So.
And the thought process behind that is just like a deer in the headlights of a car will stand there because all it sees is the light. It doesn't know what's behind that light source. So it's not necessarily scared of it. It's the same thing with the headlamp. If you're walking in, you've got a headlamp on, they can't see your human outline. They just see the light, and it's just something that they might pause and look at it, but it doesn't cause them alarm.
So if you're on the line about or on the fence about that, I would recommend using it. That's right. The property I shot my buck on, we walked 10 yards up on a doe. She never even ran. She just kind of walked off. She was clueless, no idea what was going on. So
okay, I'll go agree with that because. Walking in a few years back, I walked to my blind. I had a box blind, and I could hear something to my left, and I was carrying the flashlight. And then when I got to the back of the blind to get in, I just said, okay, I can hear it to my left. And literally just picked the flashlight up, and there had been a fallen tree there. And she was just feeding away and really could care less. She looked at me, but you're right, guys. She probably just saw the light, but not what was holding the light.
Yep.
More out of
we
curiosity.
might be wrong. I don't know. Maybe there's no one out there that is concerned about that. We used to be headlamp. The deer are going to see that. What are you doing? And we just walk in the pitch black. But we've gone back to that, and it's worked great. So.
We got tired of breaking twigs and tripping over stumps.
Have you guys ever, let's say, raked or mowed a path to your stands?
Yeah, so not to keep turning back to the food plots that we hunt, but yeah, it's as wide as a truck. We could drive our truck back to it if we get a deer, and it's mowed, raked out. I can't even hear myself walking. I mean, we've walked up on deer in the food plot that are already out feeding and undetected. So
well, and we did the same thing one year for a turkey. We knew exactly the tree this bird was roosted in, and we went in the middle of the day when we knew that bird was off somewhere else, and with rakes and shovels, and we raked probably 150-yard long path. We went to the woods to try to get underneath that roost tree so we could get close to the bird.
Yeah. We ended up killing him.
Yeah,
so it worked. Yeah. No, I've done the same thing. Maybe rake a few leaves out of the way, clear the sticks out of the path on my entry. In one spot, I even took a weed whip during the middle of summer and knocked the weeds down. So I could get through it quiet.
So to answer your question, yeah, we're all about access.
Okay.
I think it's amazing how much you can get away with. You can walk up on a bedded deer within 40 or 50 yards if you're
or less
smart about it. So
right,
yeah, or less.
Have you ever stalked on a deer in a cornfield or in a field and gotten? Why I asked this is I just saw Greg Miller, the Wisconsin Greg Miller. He was able to get within 5 yards of a pretty nice sized buck in Dakota. I think it was South Dakota he was at. And that was the closest he ever gotten. Have you guys ever done that?
I don't know if we have stalked it. I don't think we have.
We've been 5 yards from a deer before, but we've never stalked up to them. They've always come in on us.
Okay.
Well, last year at ATA there was a video. Was that ATA last year? I think, wasn't it, or was it 2 years ago? Where they were out west somewhere, and the guys, you seen a rack laying in a field, and it was of a mule deer, and the hunter, he's like sneaking. I'm like, why is he sneaking up to this shed? And he reaches up and he touches it, and this monster muley stands up. He actually he crawled and stealth stalked up to that buck and just touched his antler, just to make him jump up. I'd be afraid the thing would have stomped me or something,
No, I remember seeing that video. Yeah. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
That's
unbelievable.
All right, guys, we got a question for you. Austin Pridemore, you guys are not shotgun anymore, right?
It's still a shotgun season. We aren't allowed to use rifles unless they're straight wall cartridges. So that's like a 357 or a 44 mag or a 450 Bushmaster. We can't use like a 30-06 or any of those normal deer hunting rifles.
And that's just been changed within the last, I think, 2 years.
Have you guys tried it?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
We have not. I have a 357 revolver that I want to take out, but I haven't worked up the nerve to actually do it yet. So
I've killed one deer with a pistol, a 44 mag, and at about 30 yards. You want to talk? It gets your blood pumping. It's exciting. You ought to give it a shot one time.
Well, and that's a firearm that you have to have a deer pretty much in bow range in order for it to be successful. So
absolutely,
that would be my draw to it.
Right. We talk with Matt Howard, who made that comment about the ozonics. He commented some more here. He says, well, we're not pros, but he said it helped us out with any issues on scent. He said both of them forgot and put on scented deodorant on that morning, and one of his coats was washed with regular laundry detergent. He said the system just totally masked us both. So
that's awesome.
And they use the HR 300.
Yeah, the model HR 300. So there you go.
Thank you, Matt, for all the info. That's definitely probably going to be getting one within the next couple months. So,
and then we got Charles Byram tuning in. He's from Iowa. Dane Anderson, he's from Wisconsin. So we're hitting all the Great Lakes.
Yeah, that's good. All the Great Lakes people, or the Midwest. That's good stuff. So
those are the states that matter, right?
That's right. That's where deer hunting is bred into us, so to speak. Yeah, it's primal. Right. So
the heart.
Nothing to. You know what? You said the heart. I've got to show this picture. Jake knows which one I'm talking about.
Who shot this one?
Who shot this? And I want to know the story behind this.
That'd be Nick's deer again. He heart shot the buck that he killed this year.
Oh, that's from this year's buck. Okay, from the one that had the little crooked.
10 minutes before, and then I heart shot the next one. I guess I'll use that as a makeup for it, I guess.
Well, you were probably about 3.5 inches low on the first buck, adjusted, and put it through the bottom of the heart.
Right. That's a heck of a shot.
I guess we'll go with that.
Hey, it sounds good, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of photos, I mean, this is something else you guys do. Not only video, but you do photos. And I'm putting up now the one of the fawn. And your brother told me a little bit about this and the story behind it. But when I first saw the photo, I thought, okay, there's a little buck, and he kind of maybe shook and had some water or snow on him. He shook it off. But that's not the case. Those are actually spots on a fawn.
Yeah.
With snow on the ground late season.
That was November 10th.
That was the same day.
Season.
It was the same day I shot my buck, and it was you actually videoed it from your stand. We saw it too, but it was a little further off, and we had never seen that this late in the year. So when we posted that, we actually got some feedback because I'd never seen it in this part, but some other people had interacted with us and said that it's not out of the ordinary, but they've seen in the past a fawn that was born, obviously a lot later, wondering if she's going to make it through the winter.
Right.
She's younger. So, it just was something unique we hadn't seen before.
There's actually a guy that commented on it, a friend of ours, and he said he's seen a fawn with spots as late as February.
Really?
Wow.
That's crazy. What would that have to be, like a September born fawn?
Yeah, that to me sounds like a complete oddity. Where we're at up here,
May,
in northern
June, and
Michigan,
July is our 3 months of...
Because we have so many deer that the bucks can't breed all of them on the first rut, so they go through a third cycle called trickle rut. We've talked to Dr. James Kroll about this extensively, and Dr. Deer out of Texas, and this is what we deal with up here in Michigan. I've actually seen spotted fawns in November. It's not good. I mean, it's definitely not good, and that being that late, it might just be one that maybe didn't get bred, that was nowhere near a buck, and maybe just went into cycle late. It could have been that year's fawn that got bred, because they have to be, I think, 80 pounds before a doe can be physically capable of being bred. It's something to do with the hormones, and maybe she reached that age or that weight a little later than normal. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas.
So what are the odds you think of them surviving? Does it diminish quite a bit?
It hurts them, but then again, you guys are in Ohio, and that little one there would probably make it through if there's good ag around and plenty of food sources. I mean, that's the key.
I think I had I'd say a smaller type doe, and if you get a soft winter with the food that you probably got still left around in the woods, the survival rate jumps way up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right. What's your predator rate? Do you guys got a lot of coyotes in the area?
There's a lot of coyotes.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that would be the one thing that would probably be more detrimental to a young fawn like that through the winter.
Our taxidermist, actually, he lives about 15 minutes from us.
Over the course of one deer season, he trapped how many?
It was like 28, and it was just throughout deer season. And it was in a river bottom.
So it was like, I think he had 2 traps set, and it was on like a 40-acre piece, and he caught 28 coyotes over the.
It might have even been more. It was at least that.
But. Yeah, you got and that seems to be the theme that as hunters we need to kind of start really looking at is, okay, our deer is one thing, but we really got to start going after the predation that we got in the area that we can go after.
Right.
This is an interesting thing about coyotes too. I don't know if you guys know or have heard of Steve Bernella, but he does a lot of research on stuff like this. And there's actually published studies that show that when coyotes run in packs, when a female gets killed, regardless of the time of year, her death automatically causes their breeding cycle to restart because they want to replenish the population of their pack. And that's why they grow so rapidly all over the country, because as soon as one female is removed, everyone starts breeding again.
I had no idea on that. That's fascinating to know that. Yeah, I had no clue. And I know we've got a huge coyote problem in our area where I hunt. I don't know if you listened to a couple podcasts back, but when I was bow hunting, it was a Wednesday evening, and I was getting ready. I started to put a few things away in my pack and get ready to come out of the stand. I had like 15 minutes of hunting light left, and it was getting dark, so I'm like, okay, it's slowed down. There's nothing in the area. I'm just going to go ahead and start putting a few things away. And I had 4 different packs of coyotes around me. They all sounded off like within a minute, like 10, 15 seconds apart, and they were like a quarter mile away. There was like one over, to my left, and then there's one to the right, and then there's one behind me to my right, and then there's another one behind me to my left. It was like 4 corners, and there's at least 3, I'd say 3 to 5 in every pack. And,
wow.
I came out of stand, got down, and I'm like, okay, deer hunt just turned into a coyote hunt.
And right west of you, we had Mark Storks, friend of mine.
Yep.
He was dragging out a deer, actually, and they started following him. They got within 20 yards, I guess, and we want to have him on the show to hear about that, because I imagine that's kind of one of those feelings you get when you can see what's kind of following you, and you're going, "Gee, I'm carrying your dinner."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a really primal feeling, I'm sure.
Oh, I imagine. And Galen out on Facebook, and Todd, they're once he gets his buck tag filled, he's going to go get some coyotes, and Todd Ward is working on helping the area for coyotes as well. So, they're getting to it, and
well, Chris Kreiner up here in Michigan,
yep.
That's what he does, man. He just smokes coyotes. And we're going to try to get him up to our property, hopefully in January, February, and get a hunt on and try to do some damage to him.
Well, speaking of Galen, we're going to hook up and go sometime. He's a friend of ours, and he slays them, so he can probably give some awesome input on how to hunt them. I believe he does it at night with a spotlight, but
as long as you get them
as well.
Speaking of getting them, okay, you guys hunt Ohio. Each of you, dream hunt.
Ooh.
Each of you, give me. You got anything in the world, Jake?
You want to go first, Nick?
Oh, Nick.
You're probably gonna think mine is a little different and weird. And it's not necessarily a hunt, but I want to kill a turkey in as many states in the United States as possible. I like turkey hunting way more than deer hunting, which surprises a lot of people, but I do. I don't know what it is, and I want to make it a point to kill a turkey in as many states as I can. So that's my dream as far as a dream hunt goes.
So he's going to have an RV with the United States on the back with turkey kills and eat whatever
Cross the states off.
Right?
That's a great goal, though, man.
But you know what? And I bet you it goes back to turkey is one of the animals that you interact with so much.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated by everything about them, the way to hunt them. It just fascinates me. Easton, and if you watch our stuff, you know Easton very well, but we went to Kentucky last year, first out-of-state turkey hunt, and it was an absolute blast. We're going back again this year. Jake's coming this year. We're making plans to go to Wisconsin this year as well. So, yeah, I just want to check off as many as I can, and that would be my dream. I think yours is probably going to be a little different. But
all right, Jake, let's hear it.
So ever since I watched I forget if it was on like a Realtree Monster Bucks video or whatever, I saw Jim Shockey hunting moose in the Yukon, and that's been my dream since I was probably 3 years old. So at some point, I'm going to float plane up there across those lakes and go and chase moose. I don't care if it's with a bow or with a rifle. It doesn't matter to me, but I just want to go and see that country.
I'll go with you on that, especially I was watching the show, and they were after moose, and they were taking the boat, going up the river, looking and doing that.
I tell you what, you guys are into video, and I know you know who Kuyu is, right? Kuyu?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you know who Pedro de Ampora is?
I'm wearing their shirt right now.
Absolutely, yeah. We've worn Kuyu for a few years. So,
all right.
Yeah, Pedro.
Yeah, go look at his Yukon moose hunt. That we interviewed him last year at ATA for the podcast, and he talked about it. And then here, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, that video came out, and it's an archery hunt. Simply incredible. Just go check that out. Anybody that's listening to the podcast or watching the live stream, go to Kuyu's page and look up Pedro de Ampora and look at some of the hunts that guy does. Right. It's incredible.
So now we know what their hunt of a lifetime is, or hunts.
Yeah.
Favorite recipe of what game animal?
Ooh. So this is influenced me by a couple of good friends of ours, Scott and Seth Perkins. They run White Feather Meats here in Ohio, and they also have their own seasoning blend. But we hooked up with them a couple years ago, and they have a recipe that my wife, she's amazed by it. She loves this recipe, and it's like 3 or 4 times over, you butterfly a strip of venison backstrap. You could do it with elk or moose or whatever backstrap you want to use. And you butterfly it so that you get this nice, 1/8-inch thick square hunk of meat. And you fill that with mozzarella cheese or mushrooms or peppers or whatever kind of filling you want. roll that baby up, tie it, put it on the grill. Oh my goodness.
Delish.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me that recipe.
My belly's growling right now, man.
Not having breakfast yet. This is killing me.
That sounds good.
All right,
I'm gonna go with that as well because I hadn't had it until Jake and Scott and Seth introduced it to me, and yeah, it's a game changer. For sure.
So rolled up backstrap with some filling.
That's nice
on the grill.
Yep.
And I tell you what, if anything going away from this interview, you have made a new best friend in Tim Cius. And if you watch his, he's one of our sponsors, Out on the Limb Game Calls, and he is into turkey beyond.
He's not really that far away. He's over in West Virginia, Harts, West Virginia. So, yep.
Well, hey, Tim, if you want to come hunt some Ohio birds, shoot us a message. We'll be out every day this season.
There you go.
Hey, does that go for Michigan people too?
Right.
Hey,
hey, you want to cross Michigan off the list? Let us know, and we'll see what we can do and put you on some birds.
Cool. We'd appreciate that.
Same for you guys too. Have you guys ever hunted Ohio?
Yes, I hunted turkey down there one time, and like I said, it was in southeastern, and it was in the hills and hollers, and it about killed me.
Yeah, those hills.
It killed you back then, but it's not going to anymore because
no, man, I'm starting to get a little stealthy here.
When did we start?
Middle October.
You guys and I hitting the gym.
Yeah. Do you guys work out to stay in shape for season? I mean, you guys are pretty stealthy anyway, but I mean, do you do anything like that to stay in shape for the season?
We both took, because we were athletes our whole life and athletes through college, we both took some time off after that. And I'm hitting the point now where I get up every morning and start to do a little bit of exercise. I don't know that it's specific to hunting. Mm-hmm. I just want to be able to throw my kid in the pool and walk or run a couple miles if I need to or whatever. So
I think it's important, I mean, you're pulling a deer out, for the guys who had to drag deer out or whatever, climb a tree stands. I mean, it just makes common sense to stay in shape, and that's what I'm trying to get back to.
Nothing wrong with that.
And just so you know, Seth Perkins chimed in on the feed, and it says that backstrap recipe is on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to get him to try to post the link to that video.
All right.
I think he just did. He just posted it. So.
Oh, there we go.
Well, there's a couple picks I want to talk about real quick before we let you go. We're running a little over, but that's all right here. I'm going to put this one up right now. You guys are carving up a deer in the pole barn.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about why you guys process your own meat.
Well, that was our buck, the buck that I shot just a week ago. And Nick's good family friend, Corey Moyer, and his whole family, they've got a pole barn and they've got a little walk-in cooler, and they have everything you need to process your own game.
Okay, that's awesome.
If you're already doing it to the point where you're hunting to feed your family, being able to cut the steaks yourself, put them on the grill, and then eat that from start to finish is you and that animal. And I don't even know how to describe it, but there's something about that it makes me tick.
It's rewarding, very rewarding.
Absolutely, it completes the process. I think.
All right, who's wearing their hunting bibs while processing a deer?
That was me, actually. I had just shot that buck, so I didn't care about smelling like deer.
Nice. Well, I tell you, the next picture I'm going to put up is the one with one of you guys walking over a hill with an American flag. And there was an American flag in the last photo, too. I got to imagine that obviously there's something patriotic that's born and bred into you guys.
I think there's something patriotic born and bred into the style of hunting that we get to enjoy in this country. I mean, we have the best wild resource management system in the world. That's why we can hunt whitetail and elk and mule deer and pronghorn and turkey. And I mean, there's nowhere else in the world that has a system set up to manage population and to manage habitat like we do. So if you're a hunter in the United States, it's generations old. That history and that heritage is part of you.
We're all here because our ancestors were great hunters. Otherwise, we wouldn't be alive. We wouldn't be here because they wouldn't have survived. So I think you're right. But I couldn't have said any better than what you just said. I mean, what better place to hunt than here in the United States? I mean, we do have the best game management system there is. And I can't even add to that. That's just a great statement. So before we let you go, how can people find your videos? Where can they find you, on social media? Go ahead and give a shout out to all your web pages.
So all social media is just at OTown Outdoors. You'll find it easy. YouTube, the same. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we're active on there all the time posting updates of us in the field. We take a lot of pride in the content that we produce. As content consumers, we like to look at and we appreciate high quality, well thought out, creative content. So that's what we also want to put out there. And we feel like we take a lot of time to do that. So you can expect to see that on all of our channels. And if you guys ever had any questions, we like interacting. We definitely don't look at ourselves as, that we know everything. We want to learn just like everybody else, and we're always welcoming people to communicate with us, and we'll talk to you and discuss hunting or other topics all day long. So feel free to reach out to us. And I
got to agree. If we're not learning something, then it's not worth it.
You're never too old to learn anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Never too old. I appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time here. Just sit down on this Saturday morning. Sorry to pull you out of the tree stand, Nick.
No, I was looking forward to it.
You came out just about, when that big buck's going to cruise by. He probably just kind of waved at you, as you walked out of the stand, and I apologize for that.
No, we were looking forward to it. We had a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys, and it was awesome catching up.
All right. Well, I tell you what, for those of you on the podcast, that'll do it for us this week. We'll be back again next week. Danny, are we going to be
probably be up at your camp?
I don't know if we're going to do something live at camp.
We don't know what we're going to do,
or if we're going to do it back here Sunday night. So we'll put some messages out so everybody can kind of see where we're at with that. So that'll do it for us on the podcast this week, folks. Take care. And don't forget, you can catch us in syndication at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on goodtalkradio.com. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Carbon Express,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Wind Scent Hunting Scents,
Killer Food Plots, Seeds, Supplements, and Attractants,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Twisted Minds Bowstrings,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Antler Action,
and Family Traditions Tree Stands.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.